What's up, brother Michael? Listen, it's Miss Todd, brother Michael. Y'all are the same age, so I'm interested to hear what a black man has to say. What's good, brother Michael?
No, I agree with what she's saying. But here's the problem too. When you hear a lot of these people talking, people are so morally deficient. Is that you have kids that's in serious quote unquote serious relationships at 15 years old. They having sex at 15, 16 years old. And so what do you expect at 15, 16 years old from a young man? And so you're gonna build your whole life expectations on that, right? So so you already out of whack. So I'm not gonna discredit what they're saying, but listen, you already out of order right then and there. But I wanted to say something because I heard something said. I think it was in the I don't know if it was in the comments or not. No man has ever left a ride or die just because he went off and got a little tail on the side. That don't mean he that don't mean he was gonna leave. He wasn't leaving.
Brother
No
Michael,
man,
they
no man
left.
has
They have
left a ride or
they are
die woman.
brother Michael. They have left and they are leaving. As a man, I can't say that, brother Michael. We will respectfully have to disagree on that. They have left and they are leaving, and that
Ride or die
so
woman,
when
a ride or die
listen, brother.
woman.
Brother Michael, you the same. Brother Michael, you good for the lyrics. You be bringing up the lyrics. You know the one lyric that they love to bring up. They love bringing up Kanye when we having this conversation. And when he get on, he leave your ass for a white girl. But it's not even just a white girl. He just end up leaving. Like I told Miss Ty, he end up leaving for a younger woman. He just end up leaving for a better looking woman. He they just believe that he's gonna ultimately leave. So I can't say, and there have been cases where there's a lot of cases where like when a man becomes successful, like mega successful, or he starts getting some notoriety, a little bit of fame, they do end up leaving, brother Mike. I can't say, oh, they
Okay,
just
I can. Well, I understand what you're saying. What we're talking about is men that have quote unquote achieved some financial success. These
right,
men, these are not, and I don't want to put these type of men down, but a lot of men, when they become successful, they're motivated by the attention of women, right? Listen to what I'm
right,
saying. They are motivated by the attention of women. And so when you see a certain man that has reached a certain caliber of success, then he goes, oh, okay, I can get these type of women now, right? Okay, fine, brother. That's your right because you feel like you've achieved some success, notable above whatever the average man is. So that's what you want to do. That was his character from the beginning. That was really who he was. That's why when he got there, you say I heard somebody say if you give a person um a person $1 million, his bad personality would be amplified by the $1 million. But if you give
right,
a good man $1 million, he will do differently with the $1 million what the bad person will do. So what I'm talking
right.
about is a, a young dude, a young brother like myself, like yourself. Let's be honest. If you got a ride or die, I'm asking you, if you got a ride or die woman, I don't know how old you are, but let's assume as you somewhere
I'm
between the
45.
ages of 20 and 40. You got a ride or die. Have you really left a ride or die? Like I'm like I don't want to be with you. Like a ride or die woman, you know that girl is gonna be with you no matter what you do. She's
He's not
ride and
old
die
enough
with
to have
you.
a ride or die.
You
He
understand?
don't know that yet.
Brother Michael, look though, this is the thing though. This is what I always say. It's man, listen, and this is not just for men. This is for women as well. A man could be with a woman, but brother Michael, if
Hmm.
this man woke tomorrow morning and had $10 million in his bank account and had 10 million followers on his social media, all the women that used to pop, all the fine women that he used to see on his feed, he woke up one morning and all the women was hitting him up. It's nobody knows how that man is going. Nobody knows how that man is
That's
going
a
to be.
maturity
It,
level,
it,
though.
it right,
That's
right.
I.
But okay. Okay, but maturity, okay, because that's another thing. Somebody, because that's what Brother Michael just said is what one of my other friends said the other day when I was having this conversation with him. Like Brother Michael said, if he's gonna get a certain amount of money or some or a certain amount of status and just totally switch up, then that is who he was from the beginning. But I'm just saying, nobody really knows. What I will disagree with you, my friend and Brother Michael, on is nobody really knows how you're going to be as a person if you run into that type of money, and you run into that type of success. You don't know how, if and how you will change. There's a lot of people right now that they're the most mature people, they're the most respectful people, they manage their money well. But if, like I said, you wake up tomorrow morning, you got $10 million in your bank account, and you got 10 million followers, and all these women that never hit you up before, all these fine women that never hit you up before in your inbox, are you really gonna be the same person? Who knows? You
Well,
never,
well,
you're not in that
yeah,
position.
but I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with Ty. It's a maturity level, right? Listen, and we'll call it a phase
Because
too.
I honestly think that my husband wouldn't be thinking about women. He would be thinking about his boys. He'll be thinking about, we got 10 million. All right, Omar, I'm going to give you and Tanaya this portion. Onirian, what you and Deja, he's going to think about his kids. He's not going to think about, oh, now I'm finna get me some hoes and I'm finna I don't think my husband would think like that. And I don't think men who are, like, we're at the age now where we're waiting on grandkids. So I think that it depends on your maturity level and how you look at life. Like, my husband built his business from the ground up. So yes, you could call me a ride or die because I've been with him when he didn't have jack squat. Like, we've been having to go to helping hands and had food stamps and all of that. So and
Yeah,
now
ain't no
he
way.
has
Yeah, ain't
he
no way
has a
that man
business.
leaving this woman.
So, but I'm saying that I think that's based on, I think it's based on how mature you are when it comes to, managing money and how you view your perspective on money. Like, I don't think my husband would be thinking about hoes. This man, he's gonna work and invest the money and put it into his kids and put it into his grandkids. He ain't finna spend no money on no tricks. I mean,
Miss
he's
Ty,
not gonna do that.
Well,
one,
let
one
me say
second, Brother
this.
Michael, one second. Let me say
Yeah,
something
bro.
real quick, and I'll give you the floor. Miss Ty, again, you in your head, especially as your husband's wife, you would love to think that, but at the end of the day, like I said,
Mm-mm.
no,
I
nobody
know
is
where he
no,
come from.
nobody
It's
is
not. It's
ultimately
not
going
just
to
him.
know
It's
until
his
they are in
family.
those shoes.
No,
Nobody is
it's
going
his
to know until they
family.
are in those shoes.
Yeah,
Nobody's
but
gonna
I'm
know.
saying I know where my husband come from. I've been knowing this man since I was 14. So I know where he come from. I'm 43. I've been knowing this man since I was 14. So it's not that I'm his wife, even if he wasn't married to me. Him as his being and who he is as a man now, and his personality and his uncles and his dads and his cousins, they ain't finna do that. They finna take that 10 million and they gonna flip it and they gonna give it to their kids and their kids kids and their kids kids. I know these people. That's what I'm saying. It ain't
Mm.
just my husband, it's where he come from and who he is, and I watch his people and how they do money. Whether I'm in the picture or not, I could be dead and gone. I know what he gonna do. He gonna flip it. That's on period. I'm telling
Go
you,
ahead,
that's
brother.
on period. He ain't finna do that.
Mm.
If she ain't he if she ain't if that woman, the only way I will agree with that, if that woman can take that money and flip it, he might consider it. But if she ain't finna flip it and give him 10 million more, then he ain't finna do it.
Yeah, there's a like I understand what Noble is trying to say, but it really comes down to like this here. There's a book called The Magic of Thinking Big, and in there is a chapter called Fear of Success, Fear of Failure, right? And a lot of times people fear success because of what the success might, who they might, what it might reveal to them right?
Right.
The inner motivations, right? If
Right.
your inner motivations were, damn,
Women.
I really wanted to be King Solomon and have all these women. Now I have the
Right.
money. I'm going to do that. So fear of
Right.
success, fear of failure is real. For me personally, though, and for myself, I can only speak for myself. I have gotten women when I didn't have money. I've never been wealthy, but I've gotten women because of my ability to get women. I'm like too short. I had a whole lot of chicks in my lifetime. I've been blessed with the game. I would say the right lines. So I never had a problem getting women and living almost living a rapper's life. I hear rappers rap about stuff in their music that me and my homies were doing. We were just regular dudes out there, bagging 8, 9s, and 10s out there, right? So at my age right now, my success, my life is not about the next woman, right? My,
Exactly. That's what I'm
that
saying.
at this stage. Now, if you gave me fame, fortune at 25, well,
Uh
you
huh.
better believe
Right.
I'm going to take full advantage of what it means to be
Right.
famous and
Right.
I'm gonna be in the room with all of them, right? Everyone I saw, what Biggie
Mhm.
say? Dreams of having an R&B. I'm gonna be in the room, right?
Mhm.
So yes, but that's at 20. That's at
At
25, 26.
25.
But
Exactly.
a person, a man who actually builds his success that has something to lose, he's not willing to lose it or
Mm-mm.
lose a woman. What you learn in life, and this is
Yep.
basic to life, and this is unfortunate that sometimes it takes going through some trouble to realize, yo, damn, I did have a good woman. That's one of the most difficult things for a man to step up and stand up and say, yo, I F that up.
Mhm.
Because, and I learned this kind of early, all women just that tell you they love you don't necessarily love you like that one or two. And it takes some time to learn that. And so you can blow up, you know, a relationship with a woman that's riding down if you want, but you're gonna pay later. But as a person gets older, and a man gets older and wiser, and
Mhm.
starts to realize what true success is,
Right.
yeah, he'll be fortunate to find a woman that was a ride or die with him. But I'm gonna go back to say this: a smart man ain't leaving no ride or die just because he got a
Mm-mm.
little tail over here. 'Cause you might have been upset that he went over there and got some tail, but
Mhm.
he wasn't leaving you. He wasn't gonna leave you. He was just getting some tail. Leave him alone. He'll be back. Coming back.
No, I mean, so brother Mike, I wanted to hear your so what Miss Ty and I was talking about earlier is, this whole protect black woman thing. Um I said, Michael, that I only it's not even like I feel obligated or that they're entitled to it for me. I am 100% going to, go above and beyond to protect my mother and my two sisters. But in 2023, um I'm not putting myself in fire that I don't need to put myself into. There's a lot of brothers out here that took it upon themselves to intervene in a situation that had nothing to do with them, and they're 6 feet under as we're talking right now, and
Hmm.
it really is not worth it to me, and it really wasn't ever worth it. I mean personally, I don't see any merit in being a dead hero. Uh, and another thing that I told her is that, a lot of times these same men that these, black men try to protect some of these women from, when while they're 6 feet under, that's the same man that she ultimately ends up going back to anyways. So you just
Hmm.
intervened and got severely injured or lost your life, and she's right back with him. So like, was it
Hmm.
worth it at the end of? And like, I just, it's dangerous, man. We need to be able to, think fast and think on our feet. Like brother Michael, you have kids. We had another
Hmm.
brother up here earlier. he said he's had times where he's seen certain things, but he had to take a minute and think like, I have a family, I got kids, like I got people that depend on me, that I provide for, that I love and care about, and they love and care about me. So I'm just not going to intervene. I said if I
Hmm.
do decide to intervene, I'll probably get the authorities involved, but I'm not stepping into no fire that has nothing to do with me. And Miss Ty,
Hmm.
she studies psychology, so she's like, you never know how people are going to react in moments of trauma. And I said, well, and we agreed on this. What's trauma is subjective. So what's trauma to man A might not be trauma to man B. So because this it's not the same to them, they're going to react differently. But you got a son. I asked her. She got two sons. She got a son that's a year younger than me. I asked her,
Hmm.
do you want your son stepping into fire that they don't need to get into? And she said no. So this whole protect black women thing, I'm only protecting my mother and my sisters. Nobody is
Hmm.
entitled to any other protection for me personally.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this because I was hearing this conversation a few months ago. And I'll say this, but we ain't out here, you know, performing vigilante work. we I'm not Batman. All right. If you out here in the street and something going on, I got to call the police for you, or something like that. But then there's an ancient proverb that says, "Mind your business." All right, mind your business. And then there's one that also says, you are responsible. You have to provide for all that is belongs to you, especially those of your household. Any man who does not provide for those who belong to him, especially those of his household, is worse than a man without faith. So,
Mm-hmm.
who belongs to me? My mother, my sisters, my extended family members, um, but my number one responsibility is to my household. Now, direct protection often comes with direction. Okay. Now, if I go to my sister, she's an adult, and we've been in this situation. We all know everybody's been in this situation. Cousin, sister, you in a relationship with some dude, y'all getting physical. Now, we're gonna come over there, and we're gonna sit you down. I'm gonna say what you gonna do. You stand with him, because if we lump him up, which we will, and you go back to him, when we lump somebody up, we all putting ourselves at risk legally and everything. Okay, so we can't come over here and lump him up, and then you go, and then 2 weeks later you're back together. So no, and we
So,
we've had, brother, and I'm telling you, we had these conversations outright and direct with our family members, our female family members, because we will absolutely come over there and wreck shop. But if you're gonna be right back here 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks later, we not doing that again, because obviously you want this. Obviously you're attracted to this. And so protection comes with direction. If you're not willing to take the direction, you don't really want the protection.
Mm-hmm.
And I can provide that. I got we have a community where I live at, right? And it developed by means of really just, basketball, youth basketball. So I
mm-hmm.
know a lot of the parents know me, the moms, dads, we all see each other. Hey, what's going on? Hey, little brother. We see each other. We know each other. So if I see something going on, I will, hey sis, blah 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 blah. We gonna talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to listen to me and take the advice, then you get help. And then, but if you're not, and you're gonna go on your own way, you're gonna possibly hurt yourself. And so I say this again: protection comes with direction, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
men are supposed to provide, is direction.
True. I agree with totally agree with um what he's saying. That that's what I was saying. Like when I came into the live, I was saying, quote unquote, what do we mean by protection? Are we talking about a physical protection? Are we talking about, emotional protection? And then you just brought up, protection is direction. And I didn't even think of that, but that is so true. I remember when my kids were small, My oldest son, he was like 5, and so my younger son was like 3. My older son was doing everything for my younger son. I mean, he would, he was just being the big brother, overly being a big brother. And my uncle, he's not really my uncle. He was just a man that was, my dad's friend, and we just called him uncle or whatever. So he came up to me in church. He said, "Sister Olive, come here." And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I watch how Omar, he does everything for Onarian." And he said, Onarian stuck out his feet and said, "Tie my shoe." And Omar bent down and tied it. And he said, "Sister Olive, if you don't nip that in the bud, you're going to have problems later." And I said, "What you mean?" He said, "Because Onarian is going to lack responsibility, and he's going to think that Omar is supposed to do everything." And of course, me being in my 20s, hard-headed, don't listen. I ignored what he said. I ignored the direction. So fast forward to when my boys were in middle school, I didn't know this was going on, but Omar would be waking Onarian up to catch the bus that comes right in front of my house. And I didn't know that was happening. And so I thought, the alarm would go off and they both would get up, but because I went to work early. And I was like, "Oh, so, Omar, you get O'Neary up." "Yeah, mama, he won't wake up. He won't wake up. I have to get him up every morning." I said, "Okay, bet. Stop. Don't do it no more." And so I called my girlfriend down the street. I said, "If O'Neary missed the bus, do not take him to school. He's gonna walk." And the walk was probably about um, probably about 4.5 miles. And so I said, I thought about to what my uncle had told me a long time ago. He said, "If you don't nip it in the bud, it's going to cause problems later." And he was right. It did. Because O'Neary was just used to Omar doing everything for them. So what's your point? So my point is, when we talk about protection, what my gentleman on here said is very important, that, you know, we listen to the male's point of view. The direction can also be protection. So that is, very important, because nobody pointed that out to me. Nobody. And women, I wasn't thinking like, I was thinking like, big deal. And at that time my husband was an over the road truck driver, so I was the disciplinary. I did most of it. So he was telling me, if you don't nip that in the bud, he's like, that's gonna be a problem later. And it was a problem later. But I was a young 20. I don't think I was like 24 with 2 kids. And I'm thinking, in your 20s, you do know a lot. And I keep seeing people on the live keep saying, y'all throwing out at 20-year-olds. No, it's just that I've been your age before. I'm not throwing out at you, because I will say that my sons are smarter than what me and my husband was when we were their age. So I'm not throwing out and saying that um you all aren't intelligent, and when you're 20, you don't know as much. I'm not going to say that. I'm saying the perspective will be different, but I know that in my 20s, me as myself, I was a know-it-all. I thought I knew it all. And then when you get my age, you become wiser, and the wisdom comes when you realize that you don't know it all and you still have a lot to learn. I tell people, they ask me, "How you be married? You've been married a long time. Your marriage has outdone, some people that you've been married longer than my mom and dad. You've been married longer than my, aunt and uncle. How did you do it?" Because I learned one thing. One thing I learned, that I can learn from this young man that's my son age. I can learn from him. I learned that I don't know it all. Even when I think I've learned everything about my husband, I don't know him to a point where I need to stop learning him. And when you get to your mind, your world, your everything opens up when you become a a vessel that's ready to receive knowledge, and you're not discriminatory against the knowledge in which you're going to receive. I get on these lives, people be asking me, my husband asks me, why you be on there? Because I be learning. There's one thing about me, my mind is intrigued by knowledge. And just being in this live, I think I've been on 2 hours now. The 2 hours I've been on here, i've learned I've learned a lot just by being on this live. So I read books, I talk to people. I've when we get on these lives, I've learned the what's going on in Minneapolis. I learned what the streets was like in Chicago in the 80s. I didn't have to go there. I get on live and I experience other people's perspective, and then I learn. So me
Mm,
being on this live with this gentleman is teaching me how to approach my son. Or if my son comes to me with something, then I can say, I remember when I was on the live and that gentleman told me that. So
mm,
that's what I think that um our society our society is missing now with our young women who are saying that they're not protected. What are we defining as protection? Because
mm,
if you have a
Right.
gentleman in your life that is giving you direction, he is protecting you.
mm. I wanted to address your topic there, which is a sobering thought, man, because the question is if other races of men are more protective of black women than black men, why aren't black women marrying them? That's a sobering thought, right? Because the data says that our women are more unmarried than everybody else, right? So that's an issue, whether they see it that way or not. Um, I truthfully believe in my heart of hearts that, and it is fine. I don't have an issue with it, right? Because I'm not about race and racism and things of that nature. But I do believe that there's a lot of sisters that would love to date outside of their race, right? I do believe that. But here's the problem. Here's the problem that our sisters are having. If you're not going to go approach the man, which generally speaking, women don't approach men. Men approach women, right? Like I met two women out years ago. We was just hanging out, and they were sitting there by themselves, and I think it was about three or four of us, got a group of us, and we struck up a conversation with them, right? And they was like, so we like, well, yeah, what y'all out here doing? And they was like, you know what? We came out here to see if we could actually pick up men to be the ones to initiate conversations with men, and they said, yo, it is very hard. It's hard to do, right? Because you got to put yourself on the line for rejection. And they honestly admit it right there. It was very difficult to do. So typically, women don't approach men, men approach women. So if in my heart of hearts, black women in general, and people in general like to date outside their race, if it's not just for love or whatever, protection, whatever you want, I do believe you want to. But if you're not going to approach, that means what? Other men are not approaching you. And that's the problem. Other men are not approaching you. So the question that you have to ask yourself, they need to ask themselves, is why aren't other men approaching you in mass? If you're the most beautiful, and I do believe black women are the most beautiful women on the planet in their natural, in their natural, not this foolishness that we've seen with the snuffleupagus, eyelashes, caked on makeup, fake, all this stuff. That's not the beauty of the black woman that I admire. The black woman in her nature, in her natural is the most beautiful woman on the planet. So again, if other men and other races are not approaching you in mass, why? That's what you got to really address, because otherwise, why wouldn't you want to be in a relationship with someone where you can build together and grow together and accomplish together? Why wouldn't you want that?
But Michael, this is the thing though, and this what I told Ms. Ty earlier. All of y'all that are in here right now, y'all can look up this information that I'm about to say. You know, first of all, like, black women in this country, they're the least married and highest divorce, and right after them is us as black men. But as recent as 2021, of the black men that were married, 85% of them were married to black women. As recent as 2021, of the black women that were married, 93% of them were married to black men. So of the black men and black women that are like out here actually getting married, the very few of us, they're getting married to each other. They're out here dating each other. They're they're procreating with each other. So, I know people try to what inspired me to even come on here tonight, Michael, is a black woman that I was talking to tonight, off of here. Let me read verbatim what she told me. She told me, she said, where's she at? She said, here it goes. She said, in my personal experience, non-black men tend to be more protective of me than black men if they don't know me deeply. And I said, hold on, get this person out of here. This person troll. She's on my main page too. So I responded to her and I said, I honestly don't know if black women really. I said, oh my gosh, this statement is so problematic. I honestly don't believe y'all say things like this. I said, I honestly believe y'all say things like this simply to take a dig at black men and for no other reason. I said, like, I don't believe black women really believe that. If they're so protective of y'all, then why don't y'all marry them? And I said, answer that, I'll wait. And then I laughed. And then she responded to me. She said, I'm just saying, in my experience, if they don't actually know me, they were quicker to defend me. No lie. I don't know if that is common amongst black women who are around non-black men, but I noticed it and was surprised by the truth of it. Um, and I'm just like, well, like I said the stats as far as like black men and black women actually be getting married. So I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That I went on to ask her. I said, did you go to a private school with all white boys? Like growing up, I said, did you go to a predominantly white college with like 99% white people? Because I personally, like, I'm here in Minneapolis. I don't went to school here in Minneapolis. I don't went to college in Tennessee. My older sister lived in Georgia. I grew up around all different
Mm-hmm.
ethnicities and nationalities of people. And I just, me personally, from what I've seen at my young age, I don't see any truth to that. Like, I don't see, like, just to think about, like, white men, or other groups of men just being more protective or standing up for black women more than black men. I personally have not seen it, so I don't know where that's coming from.
I think they might be talking. They might be watching CNN stuff and listening to these. I'm serious, man. They listening
Where's
to a lot of liberal talking points and stuff like that. Which is whatever. And so it sounds like, because when you're watching, and that's the problem a lot of people have. People need to turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. God Lord.
Right.
The
Right.
best place you want to hear some real things. Come right on here on TikTok Live and jump
Right.
in Noble's content. Jump on listen to Black Jesus, listen to Black Guru, listen to you know regular old black folks talk.
real
But
people?
for too many for
Right.
too many years, we've had the media and the mainstream media, news outlets, music, entertainment depict us and speak for us. And they just don't speak for us. And they're not really speaking for us. They're doing what's called social engineering, is what they're doing.
Right.
When they
Mm-hmm.
speak and they show images on the
Uh-huh.
television screen, it's
Mm-hmm.
called social engineering. And I'll give an example. And this is not to put down a body type or anything, but there's one particular commercial that keeps coming on. All the other races are fit and firm and slender and strong, and they all working out. The one black image they showed was a heavy set, overweight
Yeah, I
black
know what
man.
you're talking about.
What the case? You understand my point? They do not put stuff on the television screen without a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They don't put
Mm-hmm.
stuff in music without a purpose, right? Most of the rappers have never really truly lived the lifestyle that they're rapping about. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I call them
Right.
sellouts. Because what are they doing? They're participating in the social engineering of society.
Mm-hmm.
And so unfortunately, most people are living and having talking points. I think you said this earlier, that's really not their own. You don't have enough experience to be talking about stuff you
Right.
even talking about.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly. That was my point. You when I was reading in the comments, and the young lady was saying that, am I throwing out on 20-year-olds? And I'm not. I'm just saying that you don't have enough experience to say some of the things that you're saying. You have to have lived long enough to say you are a ride or die. You're not old
Mhm.
enough to be a ride or die at this time. Now, when you get 40 and 60 and you're with the same person, then yeah, you a ride or die. But you haven't lived long enough to be with somebody 20 years. So you can't say, all you can comment on is your aunt's experience or your mom experience or your grandma's experience, but you don't have that experience. Then that's what I was saying, like some 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 men have been with they've been through it with these women, and they're successful and still with the same woman. Like, that does happen. But
Mhm.
Right.
if in
Like
your
a
eyes all you see, and like I told him, is the household in which you're growing up in and how the black male is portrayed. I know for me and what I grew up in and my world around me is similar to the host, where I've been around a whole bunch of different cultures and I've been around a whole bunch of different people. My sons date mixed girls. My son's fiancés are biracial. And so, and I didn't want them to believe that the world is just about, black and white and all of this. I want you to find a sincere love, not based on, when we were in Mississippi, and I was going to Mississippi State, and I seen the toxicity in Mississippi, and how everything is just racial. And I didn't want my sons to grow up with this mindset that, all white, all napkin people are this, and all, you know brown skinned people look like this, and all of them act like this. I don't like generalizations. I don't like people saying, black women is this. But are you saying you haven't met every black woman to generalize, to make that statement? So don't say that all black women are this, or all. Don't use. I've learned that in school. Ain't nothing in this world is all. Ain't nothing in this world is all. So anytime you see a question and it say all, it's probably going to be false, because nothing is all. So I wanted them to experience, more. I wanted them to experience different cultures. I wanted them to, so they can have a true perspective of what they really wanted, in a relationship, and not base their. I didn't teach them that. Like, when my son came home, he was like, "Ma, I like this girl," and I would ask him, oh, just to see what he understand. What color is she? She orange. He was 5. I said, "What is?" I said, "What
He
is
said
orange?"
he said orange.
Yeah, it was an Indian girl, so that's why he said she was orange. I've later found out that she was India, from India, and
That's
yeah, he said he liked the orange girl. And I was like, "Oh." And I said, "Well, what color am I?" He said that I was yellow. He said his dad was brown. And he said my oldest son was orange. And I was like, "Oh, okay. If you say so." But I wanted them
That's
to
too funny.
view the world without that toxicity that was going on in the town that, I came from. I wanted them to experience life outside of that. When my son got older and he wanted to go to college, he went to a HBCU. So that was his choice. I went to a predominantly white college. That was my choice. So, I mean, I want you to experience the world the way you experience. And then you make your decisions off of what you experience, not based on, what I experienced, but to make generalizations about, you know, a group of people that just, I don't know, it just burns my heart because I wouldn't say. And I think that would be a reason why, that would be a difference in why some people get approached. Because me, honestly, if I'm not around my husband, I get approached from all different type of men. I mean, I get approached from white men, I get approached from black men, I get approached from old men, I get approached from young men. I'd be like, dude, you realize you're my son's age. Like, come on now. I could be your mama. Like, you know, push back, get away. I'm not, you're my son's age. Well, you can show me around, and dude, you my son's, like, that is crazy to me. But I don't have a problem being approached by, in no, I mean, I don't get a honestly, I don't get approached by Hispanic men. I think I've never been approached by a Hispanic man as far as I can remember. Um but I think that would be a difference, is because of the, oh, I can't say the word, the aura that you give off. If you give off you know a aura that you're not approachable, or that you're going to be disrespectful, it's a way to turn somebody down and do it in a respectful manner. If you get that, if you're not putting off something that is good, then you won't get approached by anybody, because I mean, not even in a relationship manner. When you walking in the store and you look at people and be like, oh no, I ain't gonna ask her to help me. Let me go to this lady. She look like she ain't bothered by nothing, and she ain't frustrated about working working in the store. So I'm going to ask her, ma'am, do you know where such and such at? And so I just think that too has to do with, you know, you know, who we are as people. If you're not a if you may not be able to marry in a different race of the because of the person the energy that you give off and the person that you are, and that's probably why you're not approachable.